Hello and welcome. This is Cacti Twig, or Mark. I actually never know what to refer to myself as when I'm recording these videos, so I just kind of make something up.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. I'm Spider-Man then.
Anyway, so I'm going to be making a video here, another film review, with a focus on forcing principles. This will be, again, it might be a little boring for experienced players, but I'm going to do my normal review, but I'm really going to have a focus on where you should be standing, positioning yourself, and why you should be positioning yourself there as we go. So, yeah. I think at the beginning of this, I actually already recorded this entire thing once, and then realized I forgot to hit record, or actually unrecorded, so that feels really bad. So it's actually my second time doing it, so the second time through, maybe I can do a little bit better, because I got really distracted a lot during my last video, which I'm already starting distracted technically by doing so, but whatever. So when you're marking, which the mark is right here, the one in front of the disc, guarding the person with the disc, and obviously that's the thrower. And in traditional, like what people do in Ultimate, they want to try to take away everything. I got rid of my light, whatever. They want to take away everything, but the problem is if you stand directly in front, unless you have a specific reason to do so, the issue is throwers in competitive Ultimate are experienced enough that they can just step around and kind of just throw anything that they want anywhere they want, because they can just like step out to those kind of throwing lanes. So you kind of just get like the whole field open for throws, and it doesn't help much. So the traditional way of playing is where you will take away one half of the field only, which makes it so you have a lot less work to do. And we're going to force them to throw to one side of the field. And the big thing about defense, Ultimate Frisbee is a very rigged sport. It is much harder to play defense than offense. It's expected that offense wins every time. I mean, in league level, it doesn't work like that, but like in anything really competitive, it's a big deal if the offense doesn't score because defense is exceedingly difficult. So the big thing you'll get used to in Ultimate Frisbee on defense is you're not going to stop every throw, and that's okay. We plan for that. So we want them to make completions, bear with me here, to the open side of the field is what we call it. So we want them to make passes to one side of the field, and we don't want them to make passes to the other side of the field. It makes it much harder for the offense to operate if we do this. So the fact that we've broken the field into halves now will make it it reduces the lane that they have to throw in. So if they throw passes to this, we call this the open side of the field, and we call this over here the closed side of the field. So yeah, so it cuts their lane in half then. And downfield, we can position ourselves to take away that open space, because the whole concept is discs are floaty, so you don't actually like throw it directly at a person. You almost never throw it directly at the person. You will throw the disc to a space, and while the disc is floating its way over there, nice and like, gingerly, you will make a cut and sprint over to that space to go get it. So, if I can get my eraser, we can see then looking downfield here that actually I'll talk with the sidelines first. This is my second time doing it, so I forgot what I've done. So instead of trying to force communicate explicitly, okay, guard the right or the left. His right and left is different from his right and left. Things can get confusing. So we usually go by sidelines. Over here is where the players are on the sideline. That's where your stuff is, your water bottle, your bags, your friends. Like that's the home side of the field, is what we call it. So on the home side, that's where your stuff is. The away side is the side away from your stuff. So home side, away side. Did I need to spend this long explaining it? Probably not, but that's okay. So yeah, so anyway, so if we're forcing home, we want throws to go to the home, towards that home sideline. And as we are, as a mark, standing there, we're going to position our body as if when we're standing here, if we were to start pushing them, which you can't actually push as a foul, but if you were to sit there and start pushing them, you would be pushing them towards that forced sideline. AKA, if they want to make a throw to that break side of the field or the closed side of the field, I call it break side, then they have to throw through you, which is much more difficult to do. So there you have it. And then I guess to explain everything, since I'm already here and I'm rambling already, this right here is good defensive position. So dark is on offense, light is on defense. So the light defender, which in this case is Dustin, is positioning himself on the forced side of his receiver. So basically what's happening is we know coming in that this is the open space that's going to get thrown to. The disc is going to get thrown somewhere in this green area. This green area does extend off screen, but that side of the field. So by putting himself as a defender in the way, it forces the cutter then to make a cut around him, because you can't go through him or it's a foul. So it forces him to make a more difficult cut. And if the throw goes up, remember when I said discs are super floaty, it gives a defender a better position to go get there first, because he doesn't have to run as far. I drew way too many lines, and that is okay. So, yeah, starts with the deep throw. Now, they're doing a set play there that apparently I wasn't quite accurate on. I don't know if I wasn't accurate on where the numbers were or if they actually did have another wrinkle in there. Who's to say? I guess Kevin is, but their lips are sealed. Maybe Johnny will tell me in the comments. Who knows? Probably not. I wouldn't. So the other big thing to understand is that generally speaking, a league is going to force right-handed people to throw a flick pass or a forehand pass. That's as a default, that's what you want to throw. I believe Kevin's team is forcing backhand a lot, which is the opposite of normal, which is a little confusing to watch. But at the same time, we know what our home side is. We know what our away side is. The away side is the side with the camera. Home side is the side with all the players on the sideline. So we don't have to actually worry too much about that. The other big thing to understand is when the disc is on the sideline, we want to get it off the sideline as quickly as possible. Because you see here, I mean, Johnny's a big boy. He's huge. He's taking up all of this space. He's taking all that space away. So the lanes you have to throw in are like that tiny strip of land and like that tiny strip of land. Like there's hardly anywhere to throw the disc, especially with somebody like Johnny there. So we want to get the disc off the sideline as quickly as possible. And you'll notice whenever the disc gets stagnant on the sideline, things tend to get dangerous for the offense quickly, which is the whole point of a defense. So good job for them. But yeah, great job by Dustin. If I can maybe not get so many pixels. Yeah, but great job by Dustin. When you're on the sideline, you always want to take the first open look. You see here, he loses like 10 yards, but that is a-okay because it's no longer on the sideline, and that is huge. And you'll see in like one throw they make it up and more. So totally fine. It's a rigged game. It's back on the sideline. It gets stuck on the sideline, and this is the power of a force that caused this. I mean, that ended up being a foul on the throw, but this is the power of a force when everybody is working together to take away one half of the field. As you get closer and closer, because you think about the space here, you're not actually taking away just the half. It's from where the thrower is. So this is the space in the field. And we, as a defense, are conceding this space. Or as a thrower, we're conceding that space and able to take away all of this. And notice that there's way more red than green there, that's super powerful. So as we go along plays, I'm going to stop and just kind of break down leverage as we go. Kevin's team is forcing a backhand for a lot of the game, and I think that's actually a really good practice for identifying something that's not always a forehand throw. So that's totally fine. Right now, so right here is the issue is we need to get the disc off the sideline. I keep saying we as if I'm on both teams. I'm not on either team, so I guess I'm taking credit for every team's accomplishments and for every mistake they're the other team. As far as I'm concerned. So we're getting this off the sideline. Unfortunately, we took a deep throw, and for some reason I wanted to pixelate. Yeah, so we forced a deep throw, and that's a low percentage throw. There wasn't a round, so the coaching point there is to just take it. In this case, we're right back to I'll set once he sets up here. Okay, cool. So now we're set up again, and just to explain what the force is, I'm a little bit discombobulated. I'm sorry. So right here, the field is in half from where the thrower is. This is a force flick or a force home. So the open space is this side of the field, and the closed side of the field or the break side is this side of the field. So then as a thrower, we're thinking to ourselves that we do not want to allow passes to come to this side. We want to stop those passes from getting thrown. That's the number one priority. And then on defense, downfield, we want to defend fiercely throws thrown to this side, knowing that if your defender cuts to that break side, it's not going to be as good of a pass. To kind of give a good example, I think there's a throw that comes up. Maybe not here. My screen's very grainy. That's weird. I'll find a good example of when it goes up. So, yeah, so right here, as it comes up, we want to, we can see here that the mark here is straight up. So right here, so when a mark is straight up, they're basically only stopping accurate deep passes, but it kind of concedes everything else. So the fact that we're allowing throws to either side is going to cause chaos downfield for our defenders. Because we can see right here, Scott gets exposed because Scott's using good leverage on defense here. And then the receiver in red is going to be able to make a cut to the break side of the field because the force is home. And Scott has positioned himself for any force side throw to take it away, but he's actually conceding his leverage for those break side passes. So if a pass comes to the break side, Scott's going to be a few steps behind it. So then it happens to be a turnover, but that's the throw we don't want to get up for the fact that we want to be able to let the defense work together between the thrower and the downfield receivers. Downfield defenders. I can explain this a lot better. I'm not explaining this perfectly, but it's okay. We'll get a lot of reps and we'll get this figured out. I'm going to let that go because that was kind of a garbage time throw. Not garbage time, but it was not much you could do with it. Right from the end zone. All right. This got past the handlers. You always hate to see that. So once we get here, yeah, so I'll just go ahead and stop it here. So right here, the field's broken horizontally. So we got two halves. We are forcing away right now, away force. So this is the break side of the field, and this is the open side of the field. We want no throws to go to the break side of the field, and all throws to be directed towards the open side of the field. And I guess that was a deep throw, so I didn't get a good look at it. That was just Johnny being Johnny. I think Dustin was in a decent position to make a play. I think he was kind of letting up. I don't think he wanted to play physical into Johnny. Dustin, if you just play physical into him, you're a better defender than you think you are. Get in there, man. That's your play. Get in there. Because you actually had pretty good position. The fact that Johnny's a step over you, I don't think is a big deal because you got some height. So hopefully that's what Scott's telling you. So yeah, we're just gonna move right on from that. All right, so I think there might be some confusion as far as what the force is here, but at the moment, then we can see that breaking the field up, the break side of the field is going to be home because they're forcing, right now the force is away. Remember, home sideline here, away sideline where the camera is. So we got an away force, and my brain can turn off. We have an away force, so yeah, the break side's here. So we're okay with throws getting sent to this side of the field, and then but downfield we see that Johnny is a step to the break side of the receiver. So the receiver is right here, and Johnny is right here. So that if a throw comes up and it's a throw to that a forced side of the field or the open side, you can see that every pass is a race, and you can see the receiver has to go a lot less distance than the defender does in order to get to the disc, which is why having a disadvantage in your leverage is a disadvantage. So the way that we want to fix that is to have the defender position him or herself on that forced side of the receiver. So if a throw comes up, the defender has an advantage because they don't have to run as far to get to it. So that's why this throw can come up, and that's why the throw works. So Johnny's setting up a great force here. The biggest thing that beginners have a tendency to do is want to take away things downfield so much. You don't have to worry about downfield that much. That'll take care of itself if you can hold that force. Holding the force is everything on defense. So the way that Johnny is set up his force right now, he's not letting any of this come up, which is great. And that's going to help us a lot, or help the offense, or help the defense a lot later. So right here, and the big thing about leverage that happened for this, there's some confusion on defense there. So as the cutter is setting up fakes, the defender needs to be thinking to himself, where is the open space? The open space is right here and right behind him because of this great force. So as a defender, when I'm looking at credible cuts, a credible cut will go here, or a credible cut could come back or come over. Those are kind of like the ways that you can get around that mark at a league level. So as a defender, then I never want to get myself on the other side of my receiver, because if I do and the receiver starts running this way, then me as a defender, I'm behind them and I have to run all the way around them, and that's very difficult to do because you have to run extra hard. So we'll see here that right here, the defender, he looks up and at the thrower, and his eyes are off the receiver, and then allows the receiver right here. Stop getting all pixely. Right here, the receiver gets to the forced side. And again, remember, the forced side is right now the away side. So the receiver's running, the defender is on that break side of them. So now when the receiver makes a cut this way, the defender, is his name Vince? I think it's under the V, but he has to run extra hard and get all the way around that, and it's super hard to do. And that doesn't look good at all. I wonder why it's doing that. I didn't do it last time. Whatever. So yeah, this comes up, then that's why that throw gets sent off. But it's still okay. I mean, teams are going to get passes off. But as long as you can hold that force, then. And right there, that's actually a perfect example of why forces are great. So this throw coming up, whenever we say we don't want to allow passes to the break side of the field, it's kind of a simplification. We're actually okay with passes going off that are low quality passes. In order to make this pass go up to the break side of the field, because we can see here, we've broken the field up, and technically it's going to slant a little bit. So legally, it's going to be kind of like this for the forces. But so this is the break side here. This is the open space here. If the thrower is going to make a pass to that break side of the field, they're going to have to throw some kind of hammer over top of everything that's going to float for a really long time, or they're going to have to step as far as they can around and then get some kind of hooky pass or a higher pass. The idea is then, no matter how it goes, the disc is going to hang in the air, not be accurate or easy to catch. It might be inverted or bladey, not flat. And it's going to give this defender, who's in perfect position, a chance to catch up. We got the receiver here and the defender here. And the idea is, again, Ultimate's a rigged sport, so the offense is always going to have an advantage. And that's fine. We've made peace with that as a defense. As a defense, then, we're saying we do not want to get beat to this open space here. So by not getting beat to that open space, we are conceding the break space. So this throw comes up, and you see it's a little extra high. It's not quite flat. It hangs in the air and drifts off. It's an incompletion as a result of that. Because defenses do not force turnovers. They force low percentage passes. And then you just trust in the process and trust that turnovers will happen over time. That's kind of the name of the game. Defender falls down. He sits there looking sad and dejected. You hate to see it. Yeah, he's... Oh, I thought we were going to see a hat throw. Johnny was playing mad this game. It was kind of funny to watch. But, yeah. Didn't pick it up. Okay, he's cutting. That's fine. So right now, this is an example of the force being different between points. Right now, the defense is forcing right-handed backhand, which is a force away. So they're forcing towards the camera. Here's the space, or here's the line we're drawing. The break side is this area here. This is the break side. Ideally, no accurate quick pass will go there. You can always sit up there and throw some super high stuff over here, but if you do, like, the whole field's going to have a chance to get in there. So it's really not viable. So this is the space that we're defending now. We're forcing the offense to throw into that narrow space. And downfield, actually, we can see Johnny doing an outstanding job of recognizing that open space. So the receiver is here, Johnny is here. So if the receiver wants to cut into this valuable, lucrative open space, which is about here, notice he has to go through Johnny or around Johnny. And if a pass were to go into that space, Johnny has an advantage to get there because he does not have to run as far. He'll get there first, and he'll be able to break it up, or at least force it to be low percentage. And then here, then we had the exact the issue happen where the defender stopped, and so this is the thing where you want to keep your eyes on their hips for the reason that as she looks up, the receiver then is able to, this is where they start, but after this cut, the receiver is going to be on the forced side right here. If I can get it to be not pixely, that's cool. I'll have to look into why it's doing that. But now you can see from this position that this is the open space. Passes are coming up here for free, just from the mark's perspective. So as a defender, you need to think to yourself, if my receiver makes a cut into this space, I'm on my own. I don't have help. It's me, my legs, and my arms. They're the only things that bail me out. So now we're at a disadvantage. So in order to get to that disc that just got thrown in time, she has to run all the way out and in front of this, which is very hard to do. Doesn't have enough time to catch up that distance. And yeah, you hate to see it. But at the same time, it's okay. I mean, open throws happen all the time. Something we want to work to take away. And like right there, that was a break side throw. And this is a thing called getting broken. When you're the mark, you actually have a very important responsibility to not allow anything around. And when I say around, if we're forcing away right now, any pass to the away side or to the home side, we don't want to let get off. We want to stop those from getting thrown. We can see here, and this is what I said at the beginning, it's tempting, especially for beginners, to want to take away things downfield when downfield is not your responsibility as the mark. You know, that's the other defender's job. Your job as the mark is to not let nothing go to the break side. So by standing too far in front of the thrower, trying to take away too much, we allow an accurate pass to go off to the break side, which then puts everything out of line there, which is why that worked. And then there's the miscue on the throw there. Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed. It was not pixelating like that when I first recorded. It's okay. Yeah, so right here, and this is a case where this is a straight up force, which generally we don't want to see, but it's possible that this might be a communicated thing. You want to do a straight up force if you do not want the thrower to throw deep. So if there's ever a case where you recognize, and you've talked to your team about it, if you've talked to your team about it and you recognize that like this is their thrower who's going to want to throw deep, or they're doing a set play, you're going to want to take that away. But in general, I would like to see a little bit more of a slide over here and just take away all that around. I know there's nobody cutting there right now. I think at a league level, I think it's more of just understanding the principles and making some compromises for that. When I'm on a team, I like to tell my beginners a call out. It's called slide right. Because I always force flick in league, which in this case is away. So if you ever hear me yelling slide right, I'm saying look at your right hand and slide yourself towards it. What I'm saying is you're too straight up. You're trying to take away too much. So go ahead and start sliding around the mark. So now you're standing here, and now you're actually taking away a better force. So I would be yelling slide right, but it's okay. You know, if there are no cuts, you can always cheat. But like right here, this is a break side throw, because this is a straight up mark. So you can see here now, suddenly by being here, this is open and this is open. So if I'm a defender and I'm standing here against my receiver has so many options to fake me out because I have to be able to take away this, and that's just physically not possible for most people. So here, yeah, Scott gets beat here, not really his fault. you know, it happens. It's a team effort to play defense, definitely team effort. But that's a break side throw, and those are the throws that make it really hard for defenses if you let those throws come up, because you can't take away everything. So yeah, it was a great mark there. Like, you know, that looked like a great, you know, like, why would we want that throw to come up? But if that's on the forced side of the field, the last thing we want to see here, and you see Scott, I mean, Scott maybe could have put his arm out and contested that. It's all coulda, woulda, shoulda. But if Scott would have jumped out and tried to stop this, like jumped in front of it, what's going to happen is suddenly, instead of being in his good positioning, now he's over here. And then the thrower is just going to step around and throw anything break side he wants. And that's not good. So totally fine with letting that throw come up. That's okay. Especially because as they listen to the siren song of open passes, this is a dangerous thing for offenses. Notice how far over this the disc has gone now. The disc is very close to the forced sideline. And the closer the disc gets, you'll notice the smaller the open space gets. So, you know, as a defense, we want the disc to be on that forced side of the field. Okay. So yeah, anyway, sorry for the cut. Work person messaged me. So, yep, so the disc is closer and closer. Right here, you can actually see, I can't tell who that is. I'm really bad at identifying people when they're blurry, but very good defensive leverage here by the defender. Receiver is here, defender is here, open space is here. The force is away, which means that this is how we're breaking up the field. This is the closed side of the field, and then that's the open side. Just to explain one more time what it is. So this defender here knows that if this cut were to come off, this is the space that throw is going to get put up, and that's the most dangerous. Defender's in a position to beat them in the race to that spot. Very good. The throw gets off. Unfortunate. In front of the end zone, it's, you know, a veteran mark will make some compromises to take away the immediate throw, which is understandable. It didn't need to happen, but it's all like, you know, obviously I can see behind him and he can't see behind him because he is a normal human being, which is totally understandable. But unfortunate, it gets him out of jail, as I call it, getting him out of jail for free. You hate to see it. Because now we're on the, now the disc is on the break side of the field. So when it's on the break side of the field, there's a lot more open space. So you can see here, I'll just break it down one more time. I say one more time, even though I'm going to do it many more times. But I'm a liar, so it's okay. So right here, the open side of the field is kind of all of this in the green circle, which is very visible against the green field. And the break side is right now this space. Notice there's not very much break side. It's easy for beginners to think to themselves, well, why would I want to force the entire field? And the answer is it just helps your downfield defenders. And that's kind of the thing where we have to work together to stop the disc. You know, you can't really just have a good player make a good play. We're all in it together. So it's okay. By forcing this, even if they just slide the disc over, we're going to pin them back against the sideline because they can't capitalize on that advantage without compromising their position. So that is all fine and dandy. Yep, and you see right there, the throw got up, and now the disc is right back to where it was, very close to the force side sideline, which is good. And then unfortunate that right here, we know the force is away. And again, I'm getting a little bit rambly and repetitive with this, but maybe repetition helps beginners. You know, I say maybe. Repetition is important. And it's not easy to learn this stuff. So right now, the receiver is here, and the defender is here. The disc has been swung over, and the disc is currently over here. So if I'm this defender, what I need to start doing right now, before the disc gets thrown, is immediately run as hard and as fast as I can to get to that open side, or get to that forced side, to not allow this free completion to happen. So in this case, that's open then, and you can see that throw gets completed, and that's just that's what's getting broken as a downfield defender. All right, so I had some coworkers message me, so I had to take a break, so I don't remember where I was talking about. So we're just gonna start fresh. Yep, and once again, we have a pretty straight up mark here. This has been a common theme where I'm not sure what they're marking right now. It looks like they're backhand. Yeah, I think that was an example of a lack of clearly defined marks that really led to that point where we came in. It was pretty straight up here. And again, I'm not trying to dog on anybody, but that it was, and that might even be a generous line there. It was pretty straight up, which allowed either of these throws to come up. Like it could have gone this way or that way. So then for these two defenders, they were kind of stuck in no man's land where it's, which side do I take advantage of downfield? Can't really. And then unfortunate that happens. Was that, I'm not sure if that was, to be fair, that corner of the end zone from where the camera is, it's super hard to see. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Unless I felt like heckling. Half the time I just heckle people for the sake of it. Yep, so this is actually a really good job by Dustin. Can you guys see this thingy here? Yeah, whatever, it's in the way. But yeah, Mark's here, or the thrower's here, the Mark is here. Dustin's doing a good job of stretching around to prevent that around throw from happening. It's exactly what we want. He's a lot less worried about what's happening upfield, because all he really has to take away is like this, or allow like this and take away this area here. So like, I think it's a really good mark by him, because like those throws there, they're going to happen. It's off camera, which I can't really see what's been happening, but that's totally fine. So right here, I'll stop and do another breakdown here. I guess this is kind of a YOLO breakdown of the mark. So this is the imaginary line that we're dividing here. The force is away. Home sidelines over here. This is where our stuff is, which I can't draw people, but this is the home sideline. Here's the away sideline. So the open space or the forced space is here and a little bit behind. And the break side would be kind of like this space. And this area here is kind of a intermediate space, kind of same thing here. It's a little bit more intermediate, which I guess technically speaking, we don't want to allow this to happen. Like if we can seal off all of this, that's great. But if they're going to throw like perfectly straight backwards, it's probably going to happen. That's not a big deal. So downfield, we have Johnny as the receiver and Dustin as the defender. And knowing that this is the open space, the defender is very wisely putting himself between the receiver and the open space, such that if the receiver makes a cut into that open space, the defender will be in front of it and can take away any passes to that space. Because remember, we're not throwing directly to the receiver. We're throwing to the space, and then the receiver goes to that space. So we're defending the space. Dustin does a good job keeping his eyes on the receiver's hips. That's a good cut. Unfortunate. I think that actually counted. Oops. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that actually counted. Yep, and then again, this is one of those cases where as a defender, I'm not upset about this. This is good positioning to me. There's a receiver. The receiver's here. The defender's here. The open space is here. So this is a break side throw. And especially if you're taller, maybe you want to step deeper. But like even that's kind of coulda, woulda, shoulda. I don't want to micromanage too hard. But if you're going to throw something up here, the defender has a chance to make a play on it. Unfortunately, he didn't hear the up call, so he reacted really late. But if he would have heard that up call and attacked it immediately, it's why you want to echo those loud up calls. That would not have worked. The defining moment was right here. He didn't hear the up call. I'm not, because to be fair, the space does swallow up sound. If he would have heard the up call here and has been sprinting the whole time, yeah, he doesn't recognize it until now. So that was real reason. I think that was really good defense. And again, sometimes it seems counterintuitive. It's like, why would you be happy with a play that the other team scored? It's because as a defense, we're going to force low percentage passes. And, if they're going to beat us on those kinds of throws, that's okay. Because they're not going to get it every time. And that's fine. So I can live with that. I maintain that was good defense. I'm happy with that defense. Good for you. So here they are flick, or they are away forcing here. You can very clearly see here a nice away force. So downfield, the defenders really want to be looking at their receiver and making sure that they are on that forced side of them, because we're kind of keeping in mind. I'm going to pause just. I think the camera's going to turn a little more. and get all grainy. That's cool. I wonder if I can just do this. There we go. Yeah, so looking downfield here, once again, as just some hypotheticals going on, try to explain things a little different too. We can visualize that the open space is like here-ish. We'll even call it like, can't draw lines to save my life. We'll call here-ish the open space. So, you know, looking at these two, I don't mean to just be picking on Dustin and Johnny. They just happen to be the two in the frame whenever I pause. So Johnny's the defender, and then Dustin's the receiver, which I don't draw inconsistent coloring, but that's okay. So all you need to think about as a defender is, the main thing you have to think about is that if my receiver makes a cut into this open space, am I ready to take that away? Because if my receiver cuts into that green space, into that open space, the throw's going up for, like, you know, the mark is not helping me. You know, he's functionally out of the play during that throw because I'm on my own. I'm on an island. Give me some rope here, functionally speaking. But if my receiver makes a cut this way or like this way, then I'm okay with having been a few steps behind, because my mark is going to be helping me take that away. My mark is going to be in that space, so the throw is going to have to be high or kind of weird. Just, again, to reiterate what's going on here. And one thing, this is a huge handler thing that I'm going to go back one more piece. Right after the disc is thrown, and I actually called myself out on this. This is so easy to do. The throw goes up. I'm not going to keep throwing forward. Okay, so, yeah. So the throw goes up. Notice that the thrower's hips are facing this way. The defender's hips are facing this way. So if the thrower throws the disc and then starts running as hard as he can in the direction of his hips, notice the defender has to take some time to rotate his hips, because as my girl Shakira says, hips don't lie. Sorry, I got a message. People from work keep talking to me. Okay, so yeah, as Shakira says, hips don't lie. So wherever your hips are going, that's where you're going. You really cannot go a direction your hips are not facing. I mean, you can't side shuffle as fast as someone can sprint, right? So as soon as the throw comes up, you never, ever, ever want to stop and like watch with your eyes where the throw's going, because you saw just for that one split second, the mark sits up and looks, and Mike's already taking off. The thrower's already taking off. So even just in that one split second, by the time he gets his speed up, right there. To be fair, I'm not, the defender didn't do anything terrible. It's really only one step. But when the open space is right here, that open space suddenly makes a big difference, right? Because now the receiver's cutting into the space, the defender's behind, so the defender has to run even faster to get extra far to get in front of that. And that's hard to do. If that throw was a little offline and Johnny was able to get in there because Johnny is huge, but like, that was a really good cut by Mike Long. I appreciate that cut. And that cut is hard to defend. Unfortunately, it sailed up. If it would have stayed low, that definitely would have been a completion. So, yeah, I think Mike also got a little bit of a late jump on it. Because he's got some ups. He could definitely contest that. I mean, I don't think he didn't try. I think it was just unfortunate that he, didn't have a jump on it. But it happens. So, right here, I think this is another example, a great way of just how we're setting up on the field as a defense. The force is flick, so we're forcing home. But the disc is on the break sideline, right? Because here's the break side. And this is the side that the disc is on. Instead of standing like between the thrower and the wall and doing nothing, we can actually kind of take a moment and recognize, hey, there's no cuts happening here. Like this right here is by definition dead space, right? In Winter League, there's a wall and a net, but in outdoor even, it's out of bounds, so I don't need to defend it. This is a time when you can go pretty straight up. The only thing in general you have to be careful about, especially outdoor, if the thrower takes a step and he or she throws something that arcs back in bounds, you don't want to give that up. But this is not outdoor, is it? This is Winter League, and we have a wall and a net. So nothing's coming up. So great recognition by somebody that I think is Dustin. I'm really bad at recognizing people in videos. But yeah, so really good job getting that straight up mark, knowing that there's minimal that can happen, over, like an over shoulder high release backhand or a lefty flick. That's basically all that can happen. So good job, good recognition, staying straight up, taking away the field. We see the receivers are here and the defenders are here. Notice that they're in distinct areas here, as far as the defenders do not want to get beat deep to this open space there. So the defenders are definitely in a great position here. You know, the receiver makes a cut into the space, the defender's right there to take it away. So very good. That's how I want to see it. Really good. The one thing that I might say, just as a kind of a nitpick for the handler set here, and I'm not really focusing on handler set, knowing that this is the open space, there's a little bit of a different rule set whenever your receiver starts in the open space and cuts to the open space, which is more common for handlers than cutters. When that happens, you really want to think about taking away the most imminent threat. And that just means the throw that's the easiest and the quickest to come up. You know, so for example, if I see that, like, you know, the thrower's here, the handler's all the way over here, I want my handler, the other handler, to cut away, because this pass is a lot harder to put over your shoulder than her coming under and bump, just like, you know, throwing a pass in there with my amazing sound effects. So yeah, I don't plan these out. So yeah, so as this happens here, the defender overcommits a little bit to that away from the disc, because if the throw comes up right now, it's going to be in the air long enough that even if she doesn't react to it and allows the handler to get a step, like right here, if she holds the line here and says, you can get some separation from me, I'm okay with that. Because by the time the throw comes up and the throw lands, she's going to run here. I'm going to have so much time to come up here and make that up and make a play on the disc. You know, even if it's only a 50-50, you know, if you can force 50-50 passes, you're going to force a turnover every other throw. You know what I mean? Like, that's awesome, because you need a lot of throws to score. So, you know, that's the only real nitpick, you know, because she commits to that deep, and now suddenly we got that quick little bop right over, which, you know, it's okay though. I mean, handler defense is difficult, to be fair. And Mike Long getting in there. A really good example of before, when I said, whenever I'm gonna start that sentence over because my brain turned off. So the force is home. So Mike Long's doing a great job here of recognizing that this is the open space. So this throw is going to come up for free. He sees, oh shoot, my receiver is making a cut to that space. I need to turn on the jets before the throw happens. Before the throw comes up, Mike's attacking it. Attack. That's really good. And that's why he's able to get under it and get in there. So good job of recognizing where that space is. Ideally, maybe you don't even allow the throw to happen, but at the same time, I'm not going to complain, because scoreboard, the results speak, you know? Great D by Mike Long, and a good recognition of open space to really get in there. So I think that was a good example of open space with that, and I have no idea how long this video's been dragging on, but that's okay. I'm not sure where he fielded that disc either. So yeah, so right here, I just want to highlight Scott has really good defense here. Good job, Scott. So the force is away. So remember, this is the home sideline. This is the away sideline. When we're forcing away, we're forcing the offense to throw passes towards the away sideline. Force away. So the open space, Scott knows the open space is, I usually do green for that, don't I? Scott knows the open space is here. And here's his receiver, and here's Scott. So Scott is saying to himself, I am not allowing you to make a cut into any of this lucrative space here. None of these cuts are going up. I'm not having it. So Scott gets himself in that space right there. And as this cut comes back under, and why is it doing that? It's upsetting. All right, anyway. So while this cut is happening, Scott is doing a poach here, which maybe he sticks with it a bit long. I don't even remember, but totally fine though. So the idea is then, here's your space. The defender or the receiver just made a cut and came back. Scott's hanging out here for a second and saying, if I see another receiver, maybe here, coming up here, and maybe my receiver is behind her, I'm going to be able to sit there and help and take that away, which is good recognition right there. And yeah, never mind. I take that back, Scott. You did a great job. So yeah, so Scott is there enough to at very least make her hesitate right there, because she's like, oh shoot, someone's in the way. I mean, that was actually a pick, but it's okay. Who calls picks in a league? This cut happened. I don't know if Scott can really come over and help that too much. Maybe he could have, but you're in dangerous territory leaving your defender, isolated that long. So I actually agree with Scott's decision there. Good recognition. Once again, this is another example, just like with the other handler case, where your receiver starts. So the receiver's here, defender's here. Your receiver is starting in the open space. So the question is, where do I put myself? Because, if you put yourself right here, then all Johnny has to do is put on the brakes, take a few steps over, and get a free pass. So, especially in front of the end zone, the answer is generally going to be, at least, for my style of defense, staying either right behind him or right on him, anticipating. I'd probably stay like right under him, and really anticipate him making a cut out this way, because and I'm gonna go on a tiny mini ramble here. When I play defense, I'm undersized. I'm 5.5 feet tall. Like I'm short, but I'm agile and fast. When I play defense, I actually invert the way that I'm thinking about it. This whole time I've been saying, defend, think about defending that forced space, which for a beginner to an intermediate player, I absolutely say, and I maintain, is great. Focus on taking away that open space. As a more advanced defender, you start to think about a different kind of mentality, where it's, I'm going to take away the force, take away the force side and contest the break side. So mentally, I'm actually thinking about taking away this space, because what I'm doing is, if I'm standing here, I'll position myself under him, like under Johnny here, and I'll say, if mentally, I'm actually mentally thinking about these deeps, because if Johnny makes a cut under, and I think I hit escape the arrow. Yeah, if Johnny makes a cut under, sorry, I'm kind of stammering. If Johnny makes a cut under, I'm already in a good position to attack that. So my position, my leverage is helping me. So I don't need to mentally be on top of it and physically be on top of it, if that isn't confusing a way of wording it. So, if Johnny, so Johnny's here. If I'm standing here and Johnny makes a cut under, I don't have to react immediately. I have some space to let him eat up into me and, get closer to me before I turn around and try to make a play on this disc. Whereas if Johnny cuts deep into the break side, I'm physically at a disadvantage. So mentally, I'm more anxious to attack that and just contest it. I'm always going to be a step behind. So a perfect throw will result in a touchdown, but I'm okay with that. Maybe that was a helpful ramble. Maybe it wasn't. Who's to say? Props to Blue Sweatshirt. Very good defense here. The disc gets passed. So at this instant, this is the open space. So the defender does a really good job running over and saying, hey, if you attack this open space, I'm all over it. It's not happening. I'm not having it. Great defense. Great job by Scott taking away that break. This is what complicates things for the offense. This makes it hard for the offense because all of this open space is taken away now. So now you got to try to throw through the mark or around the mark. And that's a lot more difficult. So yeah, unfortunately that got off. Maybe like right here, maybe you could have stuck with it. With Johnny, I understand you're going to back him a little bit, so I'm not going to necessarily say that was a terrible thing, but unfortunate that they got off and got in. So, but that happens, not a big deal. And then we're just in that space there. That's all. We're right in front of it, so it's going to happen most of the time. Yep, so once this sets up, I will once again draw it up. Maybe this is getting annoying. Maybe it's not. But we're going to divide the field based on where the thrower is. And we're going to say we're forcing away. We're forcing towards the sideline, away from our stuff. And I keep hitting a button. Okay, away from our stuff. So the break side of the field right now. The side that we absolutely do not want passes to go to is over here. And the side that we're okay with passes going to are over here. And you can think to yourself, doesn't make much sense. We're giving them free yards. And the answer is, yeah, we are. But the game's rigged, so we have to work with what we got, right? As we allow these completions, they're leapfrogging towards that sideline that we're going to trap them on. Ooh, good catch. Good catch. Yep, so right here, this is a little more straight up than I would prefer for my team here, because right now, this puts her handler defender in a tricky spot, because this is open right now. So as a handler defender, my priority is always take away strike. I do not want to allow that strike cut to happen. But whenever it's a straight up mark, I have to respect this around if I don't want the disc come right back to the force side again. So it puts you in a tricky spot. That worked out though. Yeah. So, if you want to pause the video and ask yourself, this would be a good little test. Based on this leverage, where is the open space and where is the closed space? What is the force? Is it a home force or a sideline or an away force? I can't talk. Home force or away force? Answer is it is a home force. So we're forcing them to throw towards the home sideline. So on defense, I don't even see. I think there's a miscommunication there in who's guarding Johnny. Yeah, I couldn't pause it and look at that. That's okay. Yeah, definitely a home force, which is good. Once Johnny gets that flick figured out, that worked out. So good job, Johnny. Once Johnny gets his flick worked out, he'll be a menace and a half. He'll be more of a menace than he is now. I think he's plus 51 in the stats right now. Yeah, so just to call you out, Johnny, because I love you, I can see that your pinky and your ring finger are curled into your hand right now. Right now, what you want when you're throwing a flick, you want your ring finger and your pinky finger to be extended outward, because that you want a tighter grip on the disc. Because you're gripping the disc between your thumb and your pointer and middle finger, you have a loose grip on the disc, and that's why it wobbles coming out and it goes a little bit bladey. Yeah, that's a coaching point there. And as you released it, your follow through was up. You want the disc, this is a flat disc. You want the disc to be angled a little bit down towards your feet as you throw it. Anyway, off topic. That's for you, Johnny. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. Hopefully it helps. Maybe not. If you ever want, though, before a game or something, if you ever wanted to, I can make some throws with you and, show you some stuff too. Not that I'm like a guru or anything. Just I'm here and I talk a lot. So, if I'm going to be annoying, you might as well have some positive aspect to it. Yeah. So looking at this once again, and I don't mean to be picking on the same people, but if I'm looking at this as from a downfield defender's perspective, pretend I'm this guy, and I'm looking down and I'm seeing my defender do a straight up mark, I have a difficult situation here because my receiver's here, and this guy's pretty quick, and he's got some height, like he can go deep. He's a deep threat. I have to ask myself, could he cut under this way? Could he cut under this way? Or could he cut deep? Those are kind of the three things I'm thinking about the most. And the problem right now is with a straight up mark, all three of these are completely viable cuts. Whereas if this defender slides right and gets around this way, such that this area here is closed off, then suddenly I only have two viable cuts to worry about. So if I only need to worry about here or here, I can I have a much better position to leverage myself. Because I can kind of almost think of it as like a under or a deep. So that's good. He makes that cut. Threw right into Johnny. That's okay. Did you see Johnny? He just starts walking like, yeah, I'm cool. And unfortunate though, the coaching point here, I remember actually seeing this in the field as this happened. And the coaching point here is if you as a handler notice your defender jump out and poach this lane, okay, ignore my arrow. If you see your defender come out and poach this lane, because normally this is your open space, but when the defender's poaching, suddenly all of this is like, Johnny's going to eat your lunch territory. As the handler, you really want to be calling out poach, 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 and either just taking a step back and getting a pass around if you want, or you could even make a cut around and get the disc moved towards the break side of the field. because and maybe in the second half I'll talk about it more from an offensive perspective. I might just stay focused on a defensive perspective. I don't even know what I've been focusing on this whole video. My mouth moves when I think, so there's no filter. It's in my head, it's out. I don't think there's anything too much Dustin could have done there, if I can find where we are. Yeah, actually there was. So that's okay. So right here, Dustin bites a little too hard for this around. Right there, like he doesn't quite recognize. I think, actually. Okay, I take that back. I know what the problem is. That's cool. So this is just coaching point. And again, Dustin, I'm not dogging on you. You're great. You're a great player. Just have more confidence in general. But right here, when you're guarding a receiver in Ultimate, it's a rigged sport. So you want your eyes on the receiver at all times, and you steal glances at the disc. You know, because the ability to see the thrower is a privilege reserved for the offense as a whole, and that's kind of one of the big reasons why offense has a huge advantage. As a defender, if you get your eyes up and you check where the disc is too much, then the receiver is going to say, hey, he's not looking at me. I can cut across his body. I can cross that plane and then get a free pass. So right here, by the time that Dustin recognizes, oh, shoot, he started moving, he lost his leverage. Because Dustin's been doing a great job all game. I think I've complimented him a lot. He's doing a great job this game, keeping that open side leverage, not allowing those open side passes for free. But he was looking at the disc, allowed the thrower to get to the forced side of him, right? Because, this is the forced side. This is the break side. And, the rest is history, as they say. If I recognize anything else happening. Yep, so Mike Long right back on there. Good, very good disciplined force. The best thing you can do as a defender, if you can make the thrower look off a receiver, that's great. I know it's awesome to be like, oh, I want to be like TJ and make some awesome diving blocks, which everybody does. I do. But it's also the second best thing, or maybe even the best thing, is to turn off those throws, because the stall count's going to get higher and higher. And as the thrower pivots, looks, and says, "Ah, shoot, that's not open. I got to turn around. I got to reset my vision." It makes them a lot more likely to make a mistake. So here it happens. Mike bends untitled. Ah, shoot, that's unfortunate. So we'll be right back, folks. Okay, now that we're back. So sorry, my drawing thing. It's a G Ink. It's I really recommend it. I like it, except it crashed there. So whatever. Anyway, like I was saying, Mike Long, his knees, he's got bent knees. He's shuffling along with it. He's contesting that around. He's not allowing it, and it forces the thrower to abandon that throw, and it makes everything awkward. I mean, Johnny got open there, which is unfortunate, because once again, right here, excuse me. So two things to think about here. Number one, you have the receiver here, you have a poaching defender here, and you are the man defender here. So especially if you know that you're with somebody that's poaching, you want to take a couple steps off and be sitting back here, because if you have a poaching defender with you and your receiver does make a cut out here, you can safely assume, as long as you have that chemistry, that the poaching defender is going to go out there and 20 feet in the air, because I've drawn arrows in the sky, to make a play on it. So definitely keep that up there. But even without the poaching defender there, if you let your receiver cross your body to get onto the forced side of you, it's going to be pretty easy to make completions. That's the thing you really want to take away. So, that's fine. We learned from it. Good job, Scott, not getting too greedy on this defense. And that was just unfortunate that Mike got a late read on it. I think I actually agree with this defensive positioning as a whole. Maybe it's a little loose, but that's totally fine. Excuse me. Not too much to talk about at this point, other than we have the receiver here, the defender here. So if the receiver arcs and bends any cut towards the break side, he's going to have a step advantage. And you can see how far behind, which actually the defender would have been in a great position if he would have started earlier. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of the thing where it's like, I'm talking about that leverage. In order for the defender to make a play on the disc, obviously the defender has to be where the disc is. But because the receiver had that step or two-step advantage, when the disc gets there, the defender's 2 steps away and can't reach it. Whereas if the defender had started, I can't. Okay, if the defender would have started right next to him, the defender would have been there to swat that disc. Oh, turn the volume on. Boop. There we go. Yeah. So that's the real coaching point there, which is totally fine. You know, it's an easy thing to fix, and it's one of those. It's kind of thing. It's kind of like calculus, where it's like, you know, when you're calculating derivatives, maybe this is not relatable to most people, but if you're calculating derivatives, it's kind of the same thing. Where it's just like a concept, and it's like once you understand the concept, it is the easiest class you've ever taken, and until you understand the concept, it's the hardest class you've ever taken. So it's like, I don't know, maybe math nerds can relate with me. For all normal people, literally, you're gonna go to bed one night and you're gonna be like, oh, I don't understand this at all, and you're gonna wake up one morning and you're like, oh, I just understand it and I can just see it, and then you're good to go. So I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, very straight up mark there, but also sometimes you want to take away that deep threat for that first look, which against Kevin's team, I agree with that decision. That was a good aggressive mark. A little bit, and this is the one thing you want to be careful about, is when you're marking, you want to try to shuffle with them. So right here, we see that the mark is up and then leaning over to make a play. Whereas what I would prefer is to bend your knees and shuffle with it, such that then you're physically over here to take it away, which gives you a much more balanced position. But I'm not gonna nitpick that too much. That was nothing inherently terrible. And whew, that was a scary throw through traffic. Oh, I know what happened here. Yeah, so if the disc is in the air, it's your disc, offense or defense. Right here, we had some hesitation from the receiver. He saw the disc in the air and he thought, oh, I don't think that's to me. I'm gonna not. All right, I can't see in this frame. But yeah, he pulls his hands back. You can't really see well, but he pulls his hands back like, ooh, don't want to get in the way of this one. When if you have the ability to break up a pass, even if it's a blue on blue crime, if you have the ability to do it, always do it. It's the thrower's responsibility that nobody else is in the way. So, and that was a nasty cut. Holy cow. Yep. So they're forcing home right now. Yeah. So the one thing you don't want to do, you want to be careful about, is right here. You don't want to over pursue your receiver to the break side of the field. So the receivers here, defenders here, good leverage as far as open side, force side goes. The receiver's cutting along this way, and this is towards the break side of the field, and I can actually see that there are a couple defenders here. As a defender, then I want to stay right behind it the whole way, so that as this happens, because the biggest thing I don't want to have happen is the defender slam on the brakes, get back to that force side, because remember, this is our open space we're dealing with. If the pass comes up here, the mark's not helping me. I'm on an island. So, I don't want to have the brakes too far and suddenly I'm trying to make up ground behind them, because it's going to be a free touchdown. So, if you slam on the brakes earlier and just stay there, if they're going to throw some goony, little through the legs thing, or like an over the shoulder slicey scuba hammer, I can live with that. Let them score touchdowns with that. The biggest thing I don't want is to let them do score touchdowns on that forced side of the field. So that's the coaching point. But it's okay. So once again, quick quiz. Where is the open? What is the force right now? The force is forcing home. I could have paused. A teacher would have paused to allow people to think about it. That is fine. So yeah, open space towards the home sideline. We want them to throw to the home sideline. Any cuts coming across, we are going to take away. I can't see. Okay. Yep. So, and again, these are passes right here. When an offense gets flowing, defense gets a lot harder, because defenders, remember that lecture I gave where, watch their hips. Well, the question is, what happens when the disc gets swung around? And the answer is problems happen. That's just part of a defense. The disc, Green is doing a great job of moving the disc, which is causing chaos and confusion downfield, because, Scott wasn't in a position to know where the disc was, to know where the imminent threat was. And Almost got that. Ooh, good for you, Scott. Yeah, even despite all that, almost got a hand in there. So really good defense. And another good thing by Scott is he gets back quickly and sets that force immediately. It's called sealing. You want to seal it around and not let them throw anymore. And that was a nasty throw. Oh, and not working, but that could have been a nasty throw. So right here, then they are forcing home, or they're forcing away. So yeah. Oh, I hit a button. Okay, cool. Yep. So right here, as we come up, then the force is going to be forcing home. Like we want them to throw to the home side. So we can see here, this is the blocked side of the field. Keeping up while with a moving screen is not ideal. That is okay. And that throw just got away. Not too much to latch onto there. If I'm focused on the forcing leverage. So, yeah, so Johnny's in good position here. The force, right now, there's no force. And this is the other big thing to recognize when, in my teams, I'm going to criticize myself for doing this really bad in our My Games video coming up. The defender's coming up here to take it away. But for this moment, everything's open. There's no mark. So Johnny's in a tough spot here because Dustin can make a cut wherever he wants. He can go this way, he can come that way, he can come this way, he could go that way. You know, so he can make all of these cuts. So that's why Johnny's playing him very tight here, knowing that, ooh, I got to kind of commit to like the things that are going on here. And that's the scary spot to be in. Once the mark gets here, now suddenly, before the open space was here, now the open space is here. You know, notice that one of these angles is much bigger than the other, and that's why having a mark is very effective, and that's why, you know, it's good. Yeah, so right here, I think the biggest thing Johnny did was, oh, I went too far, whatever. What Johnny did here was concede the under to him. Being bigger than somebody when there's a wall right there doesn't matter. You know, because even if I'm guard, even if it's like somebody short like me guarding someone tall like Johnny, if he's here, I'm gonna stand here because, you know, what are you gonna do? Throw over my head? Because you're not getting over me because there's a wall there. So that's the big thing to think about there. The only real coaching point. Don't let him under you if you're right in front of the end zone. Why is it doing that? All right, for the end zone. So that's all good. Ooh, good job by Johnny picking that up though. Right here, this cut's coming up. Johnny recognizes that. You know, receiver here, defender here, open space here. So if this goes unattended, this is going to be a free score. So Johnny says, I'm going to make some compromises. I'm going to get my body in there and just make sure this throw doesn't come up. Even if I concede some throws and something happened. Oh, whoa. Okay. Yeah, something happened. I think it skipped a little bit. But yeah, no, this is another, I guess, I'm going to pretend like this didn't happen. So, yeah, so the open space is to the away sideline. The pass goes to the force side. The defender's in a position in Pixel World to stop it. Great defense. Maybe that wasn't quite as helpful because it skipped, but that's okay. Yep, so right now the force is home, and that was a case of getting broken on as a mark. We're up here, and the throw just went over his arm. Let's see if I can get a good stop here. So we're in here. When I am marking, what I like to do is I have my right, if I'm marking away, I like to have my right arm up and my left arm low. So if they try to step out and do any kind of like low release, like IOs to the to that break side of the field, my hand's low to stop it. And if they're going to do anything cute and fancy over top of me, my hand is already up here to stop it. Because you see here, both hands are level, and it just pops just right over his hands. Which, again, I'm not going to criticize too hard. I mean, this game is rigged, so like, you know, you're always going to look wrong every time something happens. And that's okay. But a good job holding the force here. One thing that Scott is doing here, I don't even know where Scott's defender went. Okay, yeah. So this is a great job of recognition of that open space by Scott. So the open space is here because we're forcing home right now. Forcing home. So the defender or the receiver, the other handler, is over here. So Scott says, I don't really want to go guard him right now. Instead, I'm going to stand here and take away part of this space, part of this open space. So this throws can't happen here. Really narrow down where they can throw it. You can see even here, if I were Scott, honestly, coaching point here, I would actually go commit even more. Because I mean, if you're gonna get a free pass to that handler, that's fine. We can totally make that concession. I would even get farther in that space there. That's my opinion. And then right here, yeah, Scott's doing a good job directing traffic as he goes, sticking with this guy. So yeah, I'm not gonna hate on that. Yeah, because I guess he was off camera. He was making a cut. So if he was not being active, I would say go ahead and take away more space. But because he was being active, I actually agree with Scott's decision there. So good job, Scott. Common theme in this video. I'm going to call this video Good Job, Scott. So force is away towards the camera. Active mark by Johnny. The only thing that Johnny did here that's dangerous is he overcommits a bit here. He's pretty upright. His body's he bent his body to overcommit here. So now suddenly, despite being a force away, all of this forced home is open again. No throw got up, so it worked out. But that's just something to be careful about. And that was a scary throw. But yeah, just something to keep in mind that you just want to be careful. Because you can create, short-lived opportunities for a break to happen, which is always scary. And that I would even call that a low percentage throw as far as it was a scary throw through traffic. A decent percentage of the time you're going to make a play on that. So I don't think there's anything inherently bad about that throw getting up. Great job by the defender here. Great job by the defender keeping that around from happening. I didn't even see what happened. I was too busy yakking. Scott makes a good strike cut. Yep, to the force side. Gets it, and we're gonna call it there. So I rambled a lot. I was a little distracted today, but hopefully that helps a little bit with some forcing principles from a defensive perspective, from the mark and from the downfield defenders, where you want to be positioned and what you want to be mentally focused on keeping and taking away. If there's anything you think I've done good or bad, please feel free to let me know in the comments. And if there's anything specific you want me to focus on in future videos, don't be shy about reaching out and letting me know. So that's it. Thanks.